Yeah. All right. Looks like we're working. Had a little technical difficulty for just a second. This is Boys episode 30.
Episode 30. The 30, I like that 30 is the first one in the studio, the new spot.
Yes. If you're listening to this, which I hope you are, or else I'll be talking to no one. We are in our brand new studio in the Paramount building, downtown Oklahoma City. It's a big deal for us, man. This is big.
Having us, well, that view of the monstrosity of the Devon Tower right behind you.
Yeah, it's looming over my shoulder.
The Tower of Sauron. The eyes looking down on you.
I mean, literally right at us. And tonight we are joined by Bud Scott.
Thank you.
And yeah, we're really happy for you to be here, man. And I'm going to pull out my little cheat sheet I got on my phone.
Happy to be here.
Before we get started, though, we got to take care of just a little bit of business.
Sure.
First of all, thank you so much, Patrick Riley, for allowing us to use this space to record out of.
Thanks, Pat.
Very cool of you. And yeah, there's other news. I set up a Patreon account for our podcast.
Yeah, you recently told me that. Patreon. Is it going to be linked on our website?
By the time this episode comes out, we should have a link on our webpage.
Okay.
I'm working it out with my web guy. He's this old friend of mine. He's not one of my best friends, but he's just like this guy I know. But he's working that out for us. So go to boyspodcast.com. There will be a link to Patreon, our site on Patreon. It's a subscription service where you can give like $1 a month. You can give $3 a month, whatever. If you like what you hear and you listen week after week, it's kind of your way to give back.
Sure.
And keep the lights on at our new place.
Very cool.
It's really good. So yeah, episode 30.
Episode 30.
All right. So tell me about yourself. I have some notes here. I have Bud Scott is the lead developer and attorney for the Oklahoma City Farmers Market District. And you oversee the Oklahoma Farm and Food Alliance. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So that is not a libelous statement?
No, that's all correct.
Okay.
I've been an attorney here in Oklahoma City since 2008. I've been working on the Oklahoma City Farmers Market District for the last 3.5 years. I was brought down there by Bert and Jody McAnally, who are the primary owners of the farmers market itself, lots of the property around it, and then have been working with guys like Matt Birch, who owns Urban Agrarian, for 7 years. So knew a lot of the players that were already there, and then turned it into just kind of a big project that we're all vested in and trying to make a dilapidated, abandoned area much cooler.
Well, it's slowly but surely getting there. I mean, years and years ago, I grew up going there when I was a kid, and it's completely different. And with places like Powerhouse and things like that popping up, and I've heard some plans for some other things going on, and that's kind of one thing I wanted to get into tonight.
Oh, sure.
Let's talk about kind of some of the future of that area. But it's a good place that's kind of outside of the norm. It's not where my wife and I would go before a place like the Powerhouse existed.
Sure.
And now we do, and we go there quite often. Sometimes we'll go for brunch, or we'll go to the pop-ups that are there. Been to like I don't know if you want to call it a festival, but shows, all-day shows. Did the OKC Oktoberfest there.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was awesome.
We had a good time doing that.
So you were involved with that?
Yeah.
Obviously, you're involved with everything, right?
I'm lovingly referred to as the mayor of the Farmers Market District. And so that was Patrick Lively and Patrick Riley and I that did the OKC Oktoberfest, trying to create the first Oktoberfest in downtown Oklahoma City.
Right.
So,
as opposed to driving all the way out to Choctaw.
Exactly. Why not keep it here close? You can Uber down, have a great time. And it was just our first dip of our toes in the water to really test to see how it would go. It was we had to consolidate and hosted it there at our Del Mar Gardens Food Truck Park grounds. But it actually worked out really well. I had a couple thousand people show up and drink a lot of alcohol and eat a lot of good food. And it was a really major success.
The food was fantastic. Both Erica and I, we got different things so we could, that's what you do when you're married or you're in a long-term relationship. You each automatically pick something different so you can like half it with the other person. And we had some beers. Patrick was very gracious to kind of hook us up with some stuff there. And it was really cool because I grew up going to the one in Choctaw. Both Josh and I are from Choctaw. That's where we went to high school. So, that was just in our backyards back then. But now you don't want to drive that far and drink those big steins of beer,
That's
boots, and then drive all the way back. It's just... Now I can just drunk drive like way less far.
Well, and we were encouraging everyone to take Uber.
Right.
In fact, if you came in with a receipt for an Uber or Lyft, you would have gotten a discount on your ticket.
Awesome. Oh, nice.
So we had that kind of opportunity. And in the future, we want to do it on a much broader scale throughout the whole district. Kind of multiple music stages.
Block party kind of thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
I grew up in Tulsa. So
yeah.
I grew up going to the Tulsa Oktoberfest, which is, part county fair, carnies and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then part Oktoberfest, and it's all over the place, but it's a huge event.
Did they hold that like? Was that like in the city area where they do it kind of like Choctaw out and like?
No, it's on the riverside.
Okay.
Just across from basically 21st and Riverside.
Okay.
So it's got the view of downtown, but it's where the amphitheater is on the
Okay.
Arkansas River. So it's a really interesting setup, and it's been just grown exponentially each year.
Mm-hmm.
This year, I think it was huge. But we wanted something a little bit different, maybe a little less funnel cakes and a little more, traditional and diverse food.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we're going for long term. See, like you were talking about with your wife, being the advantage of being a fat guy with a little dog is that I get to sample a little bit of everything myself.
Right. Totally.
And I work with all these food truck operators because I'm the attorney for the food truck park and the developer on that. And I represent a bunch of food truck guys. So they all come up and they're like, "Bud, try this. This is so great. You got to try this." I'm like, "Well, bring me a small serving."
Right.
Because I'm going to try 8 different ones of these
Yeah,
today.
yeah. But dude, that is a perk. I gotta say,
It's
like
a
to
huge
be able
perk.
to have a little bit of everything, because that was the problem when we went. There were all these different food trucks, and I wanted something out of everything, but I'm not gonna buy that many things.
Sure.
So I went with the safe bet that I knew it was something that I was gonna like, and Erica did the same, and it was great. And it's funny, when you have beer and food, people tend to show up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have
that's
a
kind of our
feeling-
mantra.
Yeah, I have a feeling next year it'll probably be a little bigger and bigger and bigger.
Absolutely. And we try to do that with all of our events down in the farmers market. I mean, it's funny, the farmers market in the actual farmers public market building, we just started that up last year for the first time since the 1970s. And that's all really ironic.
Yeah.
Here's a building that's on the National Register of Historic Places,
Right.
the Oklahoma City Farmers Public Market. And there hasn't been a farmers market there
Yeah,
in
just
30,
random
40 years.
shows or people
yeah.
get married there. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
it was an antique mall forever. So it's just really unique to see that. And as part of our little farmers market, we have a Bloody Mary bar, the only one in the state of Oklahoma. So not only can you shop for local produce,
Right.
but you can pound a Bloody Mary as well.
You can
Right.
get rid of that hangover from the night
That's
before
right.
at Powerhouse.
Hair of the dog, and then go to the Powerhouse again for brunch.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, and I'm not trying to be a
vicious.
commercial for Powerhouse, but I do love their brunch.
Thank you.
It's so good. Like, you can ask, it's funny, like I repeated myself so much when we went. I was like, Erica, this brunch is so good. Oh my God, I love this. And she's like, enough about the brunch. I get it. You like it. And I was like, we got to go back.
Well, those guys are great. Cellar Door Catering actually does the brunch on Saturdays, and those guys are fantastic. If you ever need a catering event done, Cellar Door Catering, they're excellent.
Awesome.
But they make everything from scratch. So their little biscuits are fantastic.
Dude, you got your little like your on demand. I call it on demand. I didn't go up and demand an omelet, but you have your give me a goddamn omelet. Give me an omelet now.
or
Yeah.
a frittata.
Yeah. But it was awesome. Great place.
Yeah.
We ate at a great place today for lunch. Speaking of food, it's this little pizza place in Edmond called Cece's.
No, not like the CC's pizza.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, you get to walk up and get as much as you want, and all
For like
different
$5.
kinds. Oh yeah, I think my grand total is like $740 with a drink and everything.
I definitely did that in high school a few times.
Yeah, I've
and
not been to.
college.
Today was the first time I've been to a CC's. I can't remember the last time I went to one, but it was exactly like you remember it. It's like going to a McDonald's or something. Like you don't go often.
No.
Maybe when you're drunk or something, but it does. It has that feeling of
You do not go to Cece's when you're drunk, because then you'd be drunk in public in a
No.
buffet.
A good model would be a all hours CC's. Like
Yeah,
a 24
like an
hours,
all
because
hours.
drunk pizza would be fantastic. They should sell low point beer.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
Not just pizza. Have it be a little like Golden Corral, but not shitty. Like
exactly.
pizza, burritos. Maybe barbecue. A little of that.
I mean, now we're talking Golden Corral.
Yeah, but
Pretty
better.
much.
Like not shitty.
Have you been to Fuse, Las Vegas buffet on Northwest Expressway?
No, I have driven by it before.
With the fountain out front and the line of
Yeah,
people.
it's very opulent and gaudy.
Dude, man, it is like a Golden Corral, but like, kind of fancy. Like I put on my good sweatpants when I go there. Like the ones with the zipper in the front.
The ones that say juicy on the butt?
Yeah, they all do.
Juicy and pink.
Yeah. But yeah, that place is like the Golden Corral when you're trying to impress your date, I guess. I don't know.
And you can get alcohol too, right?
You can. They do have a bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So see, they got the right idea, but maybe class it up even a bit more.
They're getting there. That's one thing about Oklahoma City that I've always kind of bitched and moaned about is our late night food options. And I'm I'm an imbiber of the spirits.
Of course.
I like to enjoy a few adult beverages and that late night thing. I mean, it is so limited around here that if we had some decent options, it would just kill it.
Well, you see, that's the thing. We have a lot of restaurants opening. I was just talking to Robbie about this earlier, and maybe it was my wife. I confuse you guys so well.
Yeah, we look alike.
Yeah.
He gives a great old fashioned.
There are tons of restaurants opening up, and it's always some take on a cuisine marketed towards I guess the millennials or whatever, like a ramen spot or a taco truck or a taco shop or whatever. But there's nothing that is late night. When they opened that Sunnyside diner, I had like oh cool, it'd be great, it'd be like an all night late night diner. No, they fucking close at like 3
a.m.
No, it's like 3 p.m.
Yeah, I just drove by there today and I thought all it said was breakfast and lunch.
Yeah, we need like or if they Jimmy's eggs for 24 hours, that'd be awesome. We have Bev's, but you got to drive to 39 or Expressway or whatever. And
it's out of the way. And like you said, it's very limited. And I live out in Bethany. So you get out that way and it's even more limited.
Yeah, I mean, everything closes at 9 p.m.
Yes. And even during like a dinner hour, it's like, well, is it Grandy's or Carl's Jr.? Well, that closed down. It's like, is it Bueno again? Because there's there's some decent restaurants, but they all close at like 6. It's like, I don't even get home from work till then. So I'm very, very limited. But I agree. I think if you build it, they will come. I think if somebody like Goro ramen, like good idea, late night ramen. Okay, that's one. Yeah. That's one place,
Mule, but they're like they close at like they are open till 2, but they stop serving food I think like at 10 or something.
Which is pretty common.
Yeah, but man, I'm talking like I want to get a goddamn grilled cheese at 2:30 a.m.
Right.
See, there's this spot, so where the Powerhouse is. There's a little corner there at Klein and 2nd.
Yes.
And it's the best little spot in our entire district. It's owned by a gentleman who's not very cooperative on development, but I've had plans for this since I first came down there about 4 years ago, just eyeballing everything. And we want to turn that into a diner, a 24-hour diner that would be small, true like diner service. We got the diner counter and some little booths, but we would serve alcohol until 2.
Right.
And then it would just be food and stay open all night. And so that way you could leave the Powerhouse, you could leave a concert at the farmer's market, you could leave the food truck park, you could be grabbing on some vegan food at the Loaded Bowl, having drinks there, and then you could walk over and fill up with some chicken fried steak.
Oh my gosh.
Like that, I think it would kill it.
Yeah.
But trying to pry that property out of this guy's fingers has proved one of the most challenging things I've ever dealt with.
Is it the building that has the Trump thing in the window?
No, that's the pink one next to the food truck park.
Okay.
That's where I want to eat.
That building's great, but he owns that too.
Yeah, he owns a lot of that stuff.
He owns the strip that includes the corner that faces Klein Street. It's on the west side of Klein. And then he owns the pink building. And then he owns the abandoned gas station as well. 3 of the best properties in that entire area.
And he just won't let go, or
does
he
won't do anything with it? No.
He just won't get rid of it.
Dude, that gas station would be a awesome like barbecue pit.
That's so many of us have tried to do that. I've put 5 offers on his properties and he just won't do it.
Huh.
Dang.
He's kind of a gadfly. Does it just to be a dick.
Right.
And I mean, I've given him well above market offers. And he's basically like, meh. I've brought people to him to lease those properties. I'm like, look, they'll do the improvements to it.
Right.
And it just goes, meh. He wants us to raise the value of all the properties around him so he doesn't literally have to do anything, and then can sell it for the highest dollar amount possible.
Right.
And that's very common here in Oklahoma City. That's why we have patchwork development, is because you have some very inspired folks like the Pivot Project guys who did Tower Theater, and they're doing the Sunshine Cleaners over here. You've got those guys, and you've got others, and you've got folks like me who come in and really invest in properties. But then you've got all these people around them that don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
And it's why they've been sitting vacant for 30 years.
Yeah, while you can drive by a spot like, that'd be a really cool, we all do it, drive by something like, that'd be a really cool bar, or that'd be a really cool restaurant.
Yeah, and we text each other, be like, dude, we should do it. But this is the thing I'm learning tonight, is it's not always just we should do it. It's some guy sitting on it.
That's right.
Or there's some sort of weird, like, tax thing or a zoning thing or something. I'm not a scholar on any of this, but I can see there's always going to be a hurdle.
Absolutely. Well, and as an attorney, that's a big part of my practice. I actually help people kind of realize their ideas. So they'll come to me, whether it's a food truck or a restaurant or a clothing store, and they'll say, "Bud, I've got this idea. I want to set up this business. We'll set up their LLC, their holding company, help them find properties. We'll rezone those properties, work with the city on getting it all set up." It's kind of like take it from start to finish. So it's been a really interesting and fulfilling part of my career in life. So
yeah. I think the point is it's not that there's nowhere to eat late at night. It's just the options are very limited, and they're kind of spread out, kind of like everything in Oklahoma City, I should say.
Well, and so many of us think about Oklahoma City as like the northwest quadrant of Oklahoma City, because a lot of us don't get outside of that bubble.
No, not a lot of people travel other side of the river,
Definitely.
Oklahoma City is huge.
It is huge.
Especially when you consider, I don't even consider the south side Oklahoma City, even though that's where I grew up kind of running around, because coming from Choctaw, going up 240, the south side is the closest bastion of any sort of normalcy. And, you had Crossroads Mall there back in the day. You had all that stuff right in there. You had Western,
you still got
Southwestern.
The Diamond Ballroom.
You got the Diamond Ballroom. Yeah.
Such a classy joint.
But yeah, I think about going to the south side. I'm like, that might as well be a fucking world away, because
absolutely,
it's so spread out. I do. You're totally right though. The northwest quadrant, the northwest hemisphere of Oklahoma City is, to me, Oklahoma City. Well, Oklahoma City goes way east, way east.
Oh, it's almost the entire county.
Yeah,
it's huge. It goes out to past Luther, and then goes towards Jones, Spencer, past there. Now, you're coming from Tulsa on the turnpike, and it'll say, "Welcome to Oklahoma City."
Yeah.
And it's another 20 miles before you actually get to Oklahoma
I know. I'm always like, damn, already? I'm making good time.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I'm almost home. No, it's another 30 minutes before I get to Penn Square Mall, basically, when I'm coming back.
But it's funny because people who aren't from Oklahoma City don't actually realize that it is quadrants. The city's broken into 4 quadrants. They don't realize that there's Southwest 44th Street or Southeast 76th Street or Northeast 76th Street, and the historical development of those areas. Northeast Oklahoma City is almost exclusively African American.
Yeah.
Still is, has been forever. The Southeast side has been oil field workers and for the most part lower income whites. And then Southwest side was mixed between Latinos and poor whites, and now and African Americans. Now it's heavy Latino. But it's very interesting. And so when most of us think about the development and all the stuff to do in Oklahoma City, it's almost exclusively limited to the Northwest Quadrant, because downtown Oklahoma City is in the Northwest Quadrant.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the border. That's that's the farthest you'll go before going into. We shot that. You shot that video for Sensitive Southside Boy a long time ago, and they wanted it to be a whole Southside themed thing. So we drove my Mercedes, RIP. We drove it.
Cool car.
Through Southside. We went to the flea market. We went to what's now the Hispanic Mall, which used to be Crossroads.
I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but yeah, we walked around, and so the band is James Hammondtree, and then our friend Adam was kind of like a hype man. He was like a tambourine player for the band, and it was just them two. And I dressed them in Kevlar painter suits, and Adam had this gold spray painted keyboard, and then James had his guitar, and we basically played the track on my iPhone, put it in my shirt pocket, and I was following them around with cameras. And the looks we got at Old Paris Flea Market with these two guys in shades and these suits, people, you can see that people are scared in the video.
People are like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And James is he's super cool, but he's kind of shy. So about 10-15 minutes after we were at Old Paris, he's like, "Rob, can we go?" He was like, rap, this is
uncomfortable.
Enough footage here.
But we drove down. What street did we drive down?
Was it 80? No, not 80. It was 59.
59.
Yeah, where it gets real Hispanic, and all the buildings are brightly colored, and there's great food places everywhere. It's awesome.
Yeah, we saw that one that was clearly an old oil change lube place, but it was was it a taco stop or something?
Yeah.
It was really, but it's real ornate, lime green. Fuck, I bet those tacos are the shit.
Yeah, doesn't it have a big Aztec mural on the side of it?
That's
and it has 2 oil bays or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet
I think that's just
awesome.
on the west side of Capitol Hill. Capitol Hill is, I love Capitol Hill.
I do too. Beautiful architecture there, homes and things like that.
Definitely.
Could be some cool places there.
I think it is, in my opinion, I've been saying this for a few years, that's our Brooklyn. For Oklahoma City, it's one of the only areas left where there's residential and commercial, and it's untouched, and it's still really cheap, and people can get in there and do some really cool stuff and not be priced out automatically by all your traditional developers.
Right.
A couple of years ago, I looked at buying a building down there, had 4 apartments upstairs, a couple of commercial spaces downstairs. Brick building, totally raw. I mean, I came so close. And the whole idea was to buy the building next to it and turn it all into an apartment upstairs for my daughter and I, and then rent it out downstairs to a Latino lawyer and a Latino accountant.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd be providing professional services to the community and kind of help me get integrated in the community a little bit as well. But the real selfish reason was because it had just this killer view of downtown.
Dang.
Yeah.
From, just blocks south of the river or, the highway, river, whatever.
See, and that's totally like the opposite of like gentrifying an area.
Oh,
It's
totally.
like, I actually do want to help the community, whereas you can spring up this bar where beer's like $8 and no one in the community can even afford to fucking go to your bar.
Exactly.
No shade thrown to anybody who's opened up places. All these places are great. I love going to them. I just wish that people in the area could actually afford to go to them.
I completely agree. I mean, and we're seeing that all over the place.
Yeah.
And, with the farmers market district, it's a little different because we don't have any residential there. It's kind of the double-edged sword of that area is that I enjoy it because I can put pretty much whatever we want down there, and there's no issues with noise. There's no notification requirements, no zoning restrictions. But
And
then
the
there's no
powerhouse
one
shows.
there to walk around and walk from their house to the powerhouse or
Right.
the farmers market.
You have to either drive or have a designated driver or Uber down there because, I mean, really the only thing to do down there is Powerhouse unless you're going to go to the Urban Agrarian and do some shopping or go to the farmer's market, do some shopping, or maybe you're going to a show at the farmer's market.
Exactly.
There's really not a hell of a lot else you can do there. But that strip, you could do everything with it and then have
absolutely.
it be a hub where you can like do more shopping or go to a bar or go get food somewhere or
And we
whatever.
have a lot of that. So where Urban Agrarian is at 1235 Southwest 2nd Street, directly to the east of it is the food truck park, Delmar Gardens, which isn't even done. I mean, we opened early just to try to get some people down there. But we're actually opening a little bar there so people can come enjoy some drinks and do food trucks, etc. The next building is still empty. It's owned by this Trump supporter. And then the next one is where the Loaded Bowl, a vegan restaurant, is opening this month. They're just about to open. They've been a food truck for 3.5, 4 years.
Very stoked about that.
Yeah, we're excited. And they're ready to open. We're just finalizing their liquor license right now.
Oh, they're going to have...
They've got a little bar.
Awesome. That'd be great.
And they already put up their neon sign on the side of the building. It's really, really kind of sharp. And then 2 doors down from that is the OKC is putting their t-shirt company there.
The downstairs guys that were down here?
I think so.
Okay, awesome.
And then after that, the next building is going to be this cantina. So that little strip, you're about to have Loaded Bowl, cantina, t-shirt shop. And then if we can get our Trump boy off of his properties, then we can do a lot more. But it's awesome. Slowly coming. They brought me in 3.5 years ago, and I told them, I was like, look, guys, this is going to take 5 to 10 years to really turn around. And we're in year 3.
Yeah.
And it's, in my opinion, we're way ahead of schedule. So you might see I have my OKC Oktoberfest shirt.
Yeah, I was peeping it through the top of your hoodie there. I was trying to figure out what it was.
Yeah, I rock it all the time. Represent.
Yeah, for sure. You got to. So, okay, I got to bring it up, not to change the subject,
Sure.
but we've had a day to let everything soak in here. And I it would be a disservice not to bring this up, and we don't have to linger on it too long because the podcasts I listen to or radio shows, when they get too deep, I just check out. So, but it would be a disservice not to ask you your thoughts on Tuesday and how you feel since then. And also, about question 777, which you're very much into. So how do you feel right now?
I mean, I've spent a couple of days in recovery since Tuesday, but primarily because I've been the campaign manager for Oklahomans for Food, Farm, and Family fighting state question 777. And we pulled off the biggest shift on a state question in Oklahoma history on that, over billionaire or, an industry worth billions, Farm Bureau, Pork Council, multi-billion-dollar conglomerate corporations, and we kicked their ass. We won by 20 points. So we were celebrating hard. Right. And I told myself that evening we were having a watch party at the 51st Street Speakeasy. And just enjoying ourselves. And I started to see the numbers with Trump. And I told everyone around me, I was like, look, I'm going to celebrate tonight. And tomorrow I will deal with the ashes of our American Republic.
Right.
So the next day, let's just be honest. By the end of my watch party, it was like a funeral parlor.
I was going to say, how did the mood shift over the night?
It was, I've never seen anything like it. I've been a lobbyist for years. Here, Kansas, D.C., a little bit in Arkansas. I've lived abroad. I've lived in Holland, Hungary, Greece. I watched in those countries the rise of the nationalist far right after the monstrosities of World War II. And what you started to see in Holland and France and Belgium and Germany was the re-evolution of these nationalist organizations, basically using the exact same platform that Trump is. So I'm not real surprised.
Right.
You could see it coming, and obviously living in a state like Oklahoma. So I was doing radio and television interviews on Tuesday before the election results were coming in. And they're like, so, how do you feel about everything? How's 777 going to go? And I was like, you know what? We're cautiously optimistic. But the one thing I do know will happen is that Trump will win Oklahoma.
So you called it.
Oh, I knew he was going to win Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah, Oklahoma. Yeah, okay,
That's a guarantee.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I said that, and state question 792 is going to pass.
Okay.
But did I think he was going to win? No. Did I really, really hope he wasn't going to win? Yes. I think it's dangerous for the United States. I think we've already started to see some pretty appalling behavior from people that they feel like is normalized now.
Right.
Racism, sexism, gloating, just really appalling American behavior. And we've seen this in other countries. We've seen this in the past, and it's a slippery slope. I'd say what I've told all my friends who were, I swear like half my friends were like on suicide watch for the last 2 days, political operatives, people who have put their entire lives into campaigning for moderates and liberals. And they've just been despondent. And what I would tell all of them was like, look, take a couple of days, take a couple of days, lick your wounds, and then come back, because we have an obligation. We cannot be like those people that have set aside in other countries when we watch their slow descent into madness and chaos. We have an obligation to be there and watch and be witness and make sure that stuff doesn't happen here.
Absolutely. It was a very interesting evening. I got off work, came home. My sister and her fiance came over, and we had a little watch party. It wasn't anything, it wasn't anything big. We were just kind of sitting around watching or whatever. And, I started off and I started seeing those numbers add up, and I was like, this is weird. And then I got to thinking, I was like, is this CNN like trying to like keep you? Like, because I thought I honestly thought Hillary was going to wipe the floor with them. Yeah. Like I thought, okay, this is all cute and everything, but people are scared of this guy, and they're going to get out and vote. And when I went to vote that morning at 7:15 in the morning, the line was incredibly long. Again, over in Bethany, it's kind of a smaller city. It's not a real big city. And we vote in a church, and I went and voted in the primaries, and I voted in the elections in the past. And the line was a decent length. I was probably waiting for 10, 15 minutes. I was in line for over an hour. And this line just snaked through the gymnasium. And I saw a lot of women in line, which there's always women in line, but there was like an exorbitant amount. Like there was like a lot of women. And I was like, this is a good sign. Okay. I saw some trumpeters. They're obvious. Yeah, they're very obvious. Yeah, American usually flags. Camo hat. I don't know. There's something. Is that like a code?
Definitely a screaming eagle somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. iPhone on the belt too. That's another tell. The sideways iPhone on the belt. But yeah, so I was like, oh, there's them, and keep my earbuds in and look at my screen the whole time, because that might be the worst place to be trapped in a conversation is in a voting line, especially in this election.
Yeah. So it can be. It can be. I'll say the opposite. I live in Edgeman Park.
Okay, it might be a little different for you than in Bethany.
Yeah, I'm in like the most liberal district in Oklahoma City. Yeah. That's Paseo and Edgemere. So in our line at the primaries, it was almost 2 hours.
Wow.
It was just epic. But I'll tell you what, I met like all these people that I had never met before from around our neighborhoods. And we had just incredibly inspiring conversations. That didn't happen this time. I voted early on Friday. My daughter and I went down there. I wanted her to be a part of the process, but because I was running a campaign, I couldn't risk being stuck in a line for 2 hours.
Yeah, those are crucial hours for you.
Exactly. Yeah. So during that period, we were at the election board on Lincoln, and it took an hour and a half to vote. There were so many people out there.
Wow.
Now, the irony is, if you look at the actual numbers, people who early voted and absenteed were overwhelmingly Clinton.
Right.
But election day, it just flipped everywhere.
Full force.
So there's some really good information. Oklahoma Watch has been putting out all these maps and charts that show everything from House races to state questions to presidential. And a friend of mine, David Glover, who he's awesome when it comes to data crunching. He pulled out these numbers, and what he shows is that what really made the difference in this election was turnout. And that from 2008, 2012, and 2016, you pretty much had the same number of people voting Republican. But that in 2008, you had like 80 million people could vote Democrat. And you had about, 40 million, something like that, vote Republican. And then in 2012, it was about 65 million Democrat, about 40 million Republican. And then this year, it was like 53 to 50, or 53 million, 700 something to 53 million. Hillary still won the popular vote.
Right.
But what it really demonstrated was the reason Trump won was because less people came out and voted Democrat, as they did at the last 2 election cycles.
Do you think that the Affordable Health Care Act, or Obamacare, let's just call it that, do you think that those premiums going up, 2 weeks ago, a week ago, do you think that might have had something to do with it? Like it just kind of pushed some people over the edge?
Tip of the iceberg,
Right.
It's one of those final things. And, if I never hear 2 words again, Benghazi and emails, I will be so happy, because it's just a bunch of BS. But the insurance stuff, what really gets me about the insurance stuff, about the Affordable Care Act, is that everyone's so up in arms and pissed off at Obama and the Democrats when they should really be pissed off at these insurance companies. Why is no one raging at these billionaire insurance CEOs who are making more money than any of us will see in a lifetime in 1 year? Why is everyone so focused on the politicians who passed the bill that they wrote, that the insurance companies wrote? It's the most masterful job of deception and turning the lower classes against themselves, when really they should be turning against the oligarchs that run the system.
I saw an infographic where some of these leaders of these healthcare organizations were making maybe I'm wrong here, but it was like almost $100,000 a day.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe even more than that, somewhere around there. I remember seeing the 100,000 mark somewhere in there a day.
Yeah.
And some people can't even afford to go to the doctor. Like, I know people who are sick and are lower income and can't go to the doctor because they're afraid of the bills.
Yeah.
And that's sad. And we're all white men, middle aged, so to speak.
Sure.
So we do have the P word. We have the little bit of the privilege or whatever. I hate to even use that word, because I am tired of political correctness as well, but I do not want that man as a vehicle to drive my distaste for that sort of thing. And I think that's exactly what happened. I understand people being tired of these increases, and the political correctness and things like that. But to elect this guy, I feel like I'm in an episode of Black Mirror.
Absolutely.
It's insane.
Astounding. And the part of the problem is, look, I voted for Hillary in the general election, but I felt that burn.
I did too,
with
man.
A lot of people.
Yeah, I think we all did.
Yeah, I think this is part of the issue, is that when you have an uninspired electorate and you're trying to deal with someone like Hillary Clinton, that we all knew, no one really liked her, but it was like, do you like her less than Donald Trump? When that's your campaign slogan is, hey, I'm not as bad as him.
Yeah. Well, that's what that entire election process seemed to be. It wasn't vote for who you stand for. It's vote for who you stand against.
Definitely. Especially in an age where everyone's so anti-establishment and they're so pissed off about the process and just ready for something new. That's why Bernie Sanders was just a huge beacon of hope for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
And Trump on the other side was huge, and I understand why a lot of people are pissed off about it and why they voted for Trump.
I can understand as well. I can understand why they voted not for Hillary.
Exactly. Exactly.
And, Bernie got fucked.
Totally.
He got fucked by his own people.
This is chickens coming home to roost for the Democrats.
Exactly.
I think anyone who was really paying attention to that, he got fucked.
Yeah, it was astounding.
Definitely.
More astounding that we have Mr. Orange as our new president. I still, a couple days have passed, and by the time this comes out, it'll be like about a week, and so pardon if this is a little bit dated to those of you who are listening, but I got to talk about this tonight. I was waiting to talk to you about this, and you, Josh. It's setting in, and I'm trying to find the silver lining because I try to be a positive person. It's not the end of the world yet. Yeah. And it's funny. Even today, I saw a headline where Trump subtly took out the ban all Muslims lines from his website today.
Well, they took off all of their press releases from their website.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. It's been cleansing, the first use of that term for his administration.
Right.
They're cleansing that. And, first thing I thought that evening, and I was trying not to be Debbie Downer with everyone, was, okay, let's give it a little time. And maybe, because this guy's a con man, he's an actor. So he just played the role that everyone wanted him to be.
The role of Republican.
That's right.
Yeah.
And like the most extreme, crazy guy that they wanted. But first thing he does is he comes in and he's like, oh, Hillary's fine. She's not that bad. And, you're ultimately talking about a guy who was a Democrat 3-4 years ago.
Right.
So God knows what he's actually going to do. Now, what scares the shit out of me is what he's done already. He's already named his EPA head. And we're talking about people that are going to roll back massive protections that we've gained in the last 8 years.
Yeah.
And it's just going to go to the shitter. And I think we're going to start seeing that across the board. I mean, this is so outrageous to me, but even Governor Mary Fallon is being considered for like Secretary of Interior post. I mean, to me, that is a bastardization of our republic.
Yeah.
Or Sarah Palin or anyone like that. I mean, these people do not deserve those positions.
He's casting a reality show of people we all hate.
Absolutely.
It's like, okay, enough with the Palin, enough with the Fallon. We get it. There's a lot of other people out there that are way more well qualified. But going back to my silver lining, like I was talking to Josh about it today, and I know we don't really completely agree, but I do kind of feel like you said, he's an actor on this grand reality show, and I don't feel like he's really going to do all the shit that he said. I think he was pandering to get votes.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And it happened. And I'm not saying he's not going to do any of it, but I think he's going to be a little more moderate than he has sold himself as.
I agree. And honestly, there might be some things that a lot of us would agree with.
Just legalize pot and I'll be just let me be stoned for the next 4 years and I will be fine.
Well, that's the funny thing is that there's so much stuff that happened on election day that is not being talked about at all. Because of the Trump fiasco. 777, that was huge here in Oklahoma. 790, the push to use public funds for religious purposes.
Right.
It was being sold as the 10 Commandments bill, but what it really was is they were trying to take public funds and use them on religious schools.
I thought it was going down.
That got shut down wildly. And
I totally thought it was
going
going down.
shocked by it because there was no campaign behind it. Usually you throw out religion and baby Jesus, and Oklahomans are just like, where's my gun? And my execution.
Yeah, let me grab my pitchfork.
That's right. But there were lots of other things. And then let's look at the cannabis issue. California goes full blown retail. Arkansas, who's going to kick our ass in the market, they've approved medical. Maine went full retail. I think Massachusetts approved medical.
Didn't Florida go as well?
Florida went medical.
Yeah.
And theirs is much more limited than everywhere else. Like,
Florida's mostly like Republican old people.
Yeah, and rednecks. And
and unless you go to like Miami, that's where you're going to get some like
Daytona Beach.
Yeah. Well, they don't give a shit about weed, just coke, man. Like cocaine.
Some of that cocaine.
They're all gacked out. They don't care. Like weed's for pussies. Yeah. But even here in our state, I mean, I felt like we made a little bit of progress as far as the.
It was the preschool of marijuana.
But it's a step in the right direction.
It is. It's a baby step in the right direction. But like you said, if Arkansas beat us to the fucking punch.
Yeah, I agree.
Then Texas is next, and then we just lost
Missouri,
out on.
I'm already talking to people in Missouri about doing work on their cannabis initiative, and we knew Arkansas would pass because Arkansas 4 years ago went to 46% on their medical initiative, so it was highly likely they were going to do it. And I've been telling policymakers here in Oklahoma for years, I'm like, look, this is an economics issue, and if we don't want to lose our spot in the market, we need to be up on this first. Because then we lose to Texas, we lose to Arkansas, we lose to Missouri. And why else would anyone want to come to Oklahoma across the border? Well, I mean, if you have tattoos and weed, then hell yeah, they're going to cut. And casinos come over to Sin City and then drive back to Texarkana.
Well, that goes to the other state question that passed, the 792. The liquor that dude, I got in so many arguments with people over that. That's at least a step in the right direction, but I think we're not too late. But I think with the marijuana one, we're going to be too late. The tattoo one, we were too late on.
Yeah.
I see the marijuana issue in general as a modern day gold rush.
It totally is.
And Colorado,
the green rush,
was Nevada.
Yeah.
Yeah. Colorado, they make so much money, they're giving it back. They don't know what to do with all of it.
Yeah,
now, is it flawed? There are flaws in any new regulation.
Sure. But their industry, and I do some work with some folks up there. Their industry has been evolving, and they pass new rules almost every year, and they're adjusting to the market. They're adjusting to what's out there, whether it's oils or tinctures or edibles.
Love them all.
Yeah,
them all. I'm getting horny over here.
I think we all agree.
Yeah,
but it's they've had to be really adjusting to what's out there. Washington went a little more just like full blown.
Yeah.
The California thing's really interesting because everyone in the industry was saying the same thing, which said, look, if they go full blown retail, how do you put the lid back on this genie bottle?
You're not.
You can't.
No.
Period. It's done. So if Trump, is a true free market guy, like all the Republicans love to talk about free market, unless it's something they disagree with, like alcohol or weed. On this thing should be done. We should full blown retail across the country. Don't even talk about medical. Let's just do it.
A national reclassification.
That's right.
And not just decriminalization. Decriminalization. Gosh, I'm so high. Oh, no, I'm not. Just kidding. Just kidding, God. No, but just wipe it out and get on with your fucking lives.
That's right.
The money there is to be made. It blows my mind that Oklahoma has not jumped on that, seeing that our roads are crumbling, our schools are terrible.
Our bridges are literally collapsing.
Yeah, it's like we could do so much. We could do so much because you know what? We're gonna smoke it anyways.
That's right.
And we're going to buy it anyways.
And this industry has been here forever.
Oh, yeah.
And Oklahoma's been a weed growing state for a long time. And I don't understand why we just don't embrace it. The funny thing is that it's not really the, Bible thumpers that are stopping all this stuff.
They smoke it too.
Yeah. And they don't, and honestly, they don't have that big of a presence in our policymaking institutions anymore. It's the pharmaceuticals, it's tobacco. Unless the provisions are written the way they like it or that they can get their foot into the market, they're going to oppose it.
Right.
When Colorado passed their proposition, they had really strong safeguards that you have to be local. So in order to get a license for growing or distribution or anything like that, you have to be local. You have to have residency for at least 2 years. If you're a corporation, that means every shareholder has to have 2 years residency. If you're an LLC, every member has to have 2 years residency. And they wrote that way to keep all the big boys out.
Right.
And it's been really effective. I think that the big push for nationalization on it is going to be pushed by the big companies. And they're going to say, yeah, we want to do this without those kind of restrictions.
Yeah, we want to be able to make little pop-up shops.
That's right.
Anywhere.
That's right. Look at 792. Where did all the money come from for that? Walmart.
Right.
So you're going to see a big shiny campaign funded by a bunch of companies like that, and it's going to be shiny, inexpensive.
Yeah. RJ Reynolds and shit's going to jump on it.
Absolutely.
I remember that tall tale from when I was a kid. Hey man, I heard they already have a plant that makes Marlboro greens. It looks like the reds, but it's green. It's weed.
I read an article.
It's covered with a huge tarp.
I read an article that they actually did that.
Did you?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
In the back of Mad Magazine? Or what?
No, it was on Onion. It's a really good news article.
Oh man, that's where I go for all my news. So yeah, I want to ask you, as someone who is deeply vested in this kind of thing, where do you see Oklahoma evolving on that? Do you think it's going to happen soon? If you had to give your best guess on, I got anxiety and I can't sleep. I'm cool with medicinal, one step in the right direction, So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's going to happen?
Well, we had our signature petition that received the requisite number of signatures this year. Should have been on the ballot, and it would have passed.
Oh, it totally
had
would
that
have
been on the ballot, there wouldn't even have had to have been a campaign behind it. It would have passed. And we can thank Attorney General Scott Pruitt for that. Remember that, listeners, when he's running for senator or governor, that this is the guy who kept pot off the ballot intentionally.
You know what I say? I say, Pruitt, don't do it.
Oh,
That's my
There you
campaign.
go.
Pruitt's awful.
Fuck him.
He's like a gateway drug to, terrible things. But, I think that's going to be on the ballot in 2 years. Unless we have a special election in 2017, it will be on the ballot. So by then, though, will it be too late? Probably. There will still be lots of money to be made.
Better late than never.
That's right. And I'd rather have it replacing our draconian laws on these subjects and have my small farmers who, I'm telling you, I've got clients right now that are Seventh-day Adventist, religious families that grow food and have greenhouses in eastern Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And they're always asking me, they're like, Bud, what's going to happen with the cannabis thing? Because they want to grow cannabis.
They're ready.
Yeah, and they don't get high.
Right.
Yeah.
But they know they can make money.
No, it's a cash
and
crop.
It's a cash crop. Exactly. They're like, this would be a hell of a lot better than tomatoes.
And it literally grows like weeds in Oklahoma.
And Oklahoma's like utopia for growing pot. It's perfect.
Absolutely. Well, and especially for where we're seeing the industry go, flowers like the buds is actually a really small portion of the market now. A lot of people are going towards growing basically like hemp fields or low THC plant fields and using it all for extract. Mm-hmm. So you basically take the entire plant, grind it down, goes through this process, and it pulls out the concentrate. And we actually allow for that in Oklahoma already. Governor Fallon signed off on this really limited bill a couple of years ago to be able to use it for this tincture. Mm-hmm. And so I think we'll see a lot of that. I think we'll see farmers that are growing fields of low-grade marijuana for those kind of CBD extracts. Mm-hmm. And then we'll see a big boost in the industry for edibles and oils and all that good stuff. So at least I hope so.
Yeah, I do. It's just get with the times, people.
Absolutely.
I hate to subscribe too much to this, but I just noticed that I have that Viceland channel on my...
I love Vice.
Okay, yeah. And so I watched a few things before I knew I had the channel, like the Action Bronson show and stuff like that. Fuck, that's delicious. And
Weedicate.
He likes weed.
Yeah.
Big surprise. A rapper likes weed. Weird. But they have this new little, I don't know if it's a TV show or just a commercial spot, but it's like, my name's Robbie Harris. I'm a audio video director and I smoke weed. Mm-hmm. Or it's like, my name's so-and-so, I'm a doctor and I smoke weed. And it's like these people coming out of the closet, so to speak.
Totally.
That they smoke pot. And my whole life I've dealt with that, not my whole life. I wasn't smoking a bong when I came out of my mom. Yeah.
Hey baby.
Yeah.
That's a rap right there, dude.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. But yeah, it's cool to see now that it's becoming more legal and more normalized. Mm-hmm. No pun intended.
Well, it should be.
Yeah. Why be scared?
Absolutely.
Oh wait, it's illegal here. Yeah, so yeah.
Well, and that's one thing we've talked about when running campaigns in other states around cannabis initiatives. Half of it is going to be education in advance. Mm-hmm. And it's campaigns like that. It's normalization, showing people that this isn't reefer madness from 1930s. This is a very different deal. It is a cash industry now. People are using it for all sorts of purposes. Mm-hmm. And getting high is no longer a stigmata.
You're not going to play the piano till your fingers bleed and then jump out a window.
But people, are crazy like that. They still think it's that way. And a lot of it's about moderation and, again, education on it. So you look in Colorado, there were a few reported cases of people basically eating like candy bars that were, 100 milligrams of oil. I mean, that's a lot. You're supposed to take like 5-10 milligrams.
You will
at a time.
freak out.
Yeah, you will freak out. And so when someone's eating a candy bar that they got from the store and they didn't read the instructions and they ate the entire thing, well, that would be like drinking an entire bottle of Everclear and not expecting to have alcohol poisoning.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's awareness and education and knowing how to use the product and be responsible.
Sure.
But, the people who are against it are like, oh, here it is. You got this guy trying to jump off a roof.
One idiot.
Yeah,
one dummy.
Exactly.
It's like you only need a bite, man. You only need a little bit. Save the rest for later.
Definitely.
I just like to eat it constantly, just like a bite an hour every day.
It's like a bag of M&Ms.
If you guys go to the shops up there, especially in Denver, there's always these kind of like hitty bros working in there with their dreadlocks. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh yeah, man, you totally want to try that, yummy gummy purple bud, whatever it is. Yeah. Where they're like, oh yeah, that's good stuff, man. Yeah, take a couple of drinks of it. Fantastic. And I was like, does it say it on the label? Because here I am, the attorney coming in, and I'm like, does that say take 2 servings? and one serving is this. And a lot of them don't. But now there's rules for it in place that it has to say that for this very reason. But it's the evolution of an industry. It's been really interesting to watch.
Well, it's like if you were to be prescribed Xanax.
Yeah, totally.
It doesn't say grab a handful and throw them down your throat. It says
Tic Tacs.
Yeah. It says take one as needed.
As needed.
That term keeps coming up. I needed it.
Well, that's the thing. Like when you do go to those shops in Denver, I was there last summer, and with the edibles especially, I allegedly purchased.
You purchased them.
I purchased it. I was there. I was hanging out.
You also breathed there, and
I did do that.
Yeah.
And they sell them to you in doses. So you buy a candy. You're not buying a bag of fucking candy. You're buying individual candy, and it's 5 milligrams, 10 milligrams, whatever.
Or 10 of them in one bottle.
Right.
Yeah, and it specifies.
And each individual one is this amount.
You're not chipping off a piece of the
No.
gold brick.
But that's what they call them bud tenders there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They'll tell you go, hey, and that's what it's like, hey, I'm new to this edible thing. It's like, cool, man. Just get the 5 milligrams. Take one. If you feel good, take another one. Like, awesome. And I did that, and man,
yeah,
they're not fucking around.
They're good.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
One of the shops we went to, because my wife and I went there a couple of years ago, and one of the shops we went to, there was this like redheaded hippie dreadlock guy just beaming with joy, just rolling joints behind a glass counter.
He's like, I'm getting paid for this.
Yeah. And he was listening to like some reggae, and he was just rolling, and he was just smiling. And I was the tourist. I go, hey man, can I ask you something? It's like, do you like your job? And he looked at me like I was a complete idiot. He goes, I fucking love my job. He's like, I'm getting paid to sit here and roll joints. Sure. And he's like, and we get to test the new stuff that comes
Test
in.
it out.
Yeah, like they get the shake. They like, kind of like the bartender might get a little shot at the end of his shift or something, It's like,
this is what stoners have been waiting 50 years for.
Oh, right? Yeah. Instead of working at your job at Ziggy's, you got a job like...
Well, and let's talk about that for a minute. Being still completely illegal here, I went to Ziggy's for just to have a look around.
Sure, you needed a water pipe for your tobacco products.
That's right.
I needed a big double-ended dildo is what I needed. Actually, I wore my old one out. You go in there and there's like floor-to-ceiling Tupperware bins full of these spices, and you had these people out front, kind of hiding that they were smoking it, but you could tell they were. Cracked out looking people. Yeah. I mean, just may I use the word deplorable?
That stuff is super dangerous.
It really is. It's nasty. The K2 and spice.
A friend of mine, like, we should smoke. I'm like, what is it? Like, it's just like weed.
No.
Like, no, it is for the first minute and a half. You're like, oh, this is cool. I feel kind of high, and then fucking like bad acid trip sets on, and it's not good. No, like when people just do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like basalt thing that happened.
Yeah, and that's a result. People are going to get high. Yeah, whether it's legal or illegal, they're going to find a mixture of chemicals under their sink to get high.
People are going to huff paint. Like shit happens.
Exactly. So as long as we keep it criminalized and stigmatized in our culture, man, it's just a waste of time, and it's going to drive people to other stuff.
Yeah.
So, hey, we legalize weed or decriminalize it or whatever. That K2 and that spice, the market leaves.
It's going bye-bye.
That's right. It's done.
There's no need for it.
Yeah, and thank God. Good riddance.
It's so antiquated thinking to me. And I'm not trying, I'm kind of a liberal guy, but, I do align with certain conservative values, not any of these crazy neoconservative things that are out now. But I kind of ride the line on a lot of things. But the whole pot thing, it's like, it's just weed. Like, and to think it's the devil's lettuce and to think it's going to make you crazy. It's like, the thing I want to scream from the mountaintop is everyone I know smokes pot. Everyone. Like, it's not this back alley transaction and, you're fiending and stuff like that. No. It's like, no, you go to a party, everybody brings their 6-pack of Anthem beer, hopefully.
AnthemBrewing.com.
The beer you drink after you smoke pot. No, but yeah, everybody brings their 6-pack or their 4-pack nowadays. And somebody has a joint and you smoke a little or you don't, wink, and you're fine. Like, you're not sitting around fucking slamming a needle in your arm and spreading disease.
And you're not whipping out a bong and getting ripped for like 4 days. Like, no, I'll get a little high and go home. fuck my wife and go to bed. That's what you do.
Like a man.
Like a man.
For the most part, man. I'll smoke a little and pass out on my couch.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so antiquated and so weird, and it's just time for a change. And it feels really good to even be able to talk about this because I'm less paranoid, in general than I was, 5 years ago. And I feel like the kind of going back to the Trump thing, I said this to Josh. I said, just because this guy is our president doesn't mean all people are going to start leaning that way. There's still going to be progressive people. And I'm one of those people in general. And, the other lining was the Republicans have no excuse now.
That's true.
Everything was, how many times have you heard thanks Obama as a joke?
Mm-hmm.
People like us saying it, I'm out of water. Thanks Obama. Ha ha ha. Well, guess what? They have no more reason to do that.
Exactly.
And if Hillary was elected, we would have heard thanks Hillary. She fucked everything up. She's furthered everything Obama fucked up.
The not my president thing.
Yeah.
No.
Which, the Republicans have no more excuses. You elected this man. Let's see what happens.
Well, the irony is, though, we live in a state where that's been the scenario for a while now. The Republicans are in control of the governor. They're in control of the House. They're in control of the Senate. And we still keep electing them, even though we're in a total shit show of education funding, infrastructure, everything else. People want to complain about it, but then we keep electing all the same people. So I honestly have very little faith that the American public is going to follow a different path than the people of Oklahoma have. Because unless enough people, like I talked about earlier in that kind of graph, that the reason that Hillary lost was because less Democrats came out and voted, period. That's exactly why, because the same number of Republicans voted last 3 cycles. So, unless people get fed up and actually come out to do something, then, we're going to get the same policies.
Now, is that based on like registered voters just going to the polling no matter who they voted for, right? Not like who their vote was for. What if it was Democrats that had enough of the shit and wanted to change? Does that still count as a Democrat? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd say the amount of Democrats that actually voted for Trump is probably pretty small nationally.
Mm-hmm.
But what the numbers are is that in 2008, 2012, and then 2016, that the almost same number voted Republican out of those 3 cycles. And the Democrat one dropped drastically, like 30, 40 million. Yeah, when almost half as many people don't come out to vote that did
and
the last 2
times. It was
times.
probably a lot of those either, she's got it in the bag, who cares? Why bother go vote?
And then a lot of people that were, Bernie guys like us and who said, you know what, fuck this. I don't want to vote for her. But I'm not going to vote for Trump.
Right.
So,
see, I was one of those guys. I was like, I couldn't consciously vote for either. It's like that lesser of two evils is still evil thing. And then as I watched it all come in, I'm like, fuck. Yeah. But it's Oklahoma. My vote isn't going to do shit anyway.
Exactly. It wouldn't have mattered here. Now, all the other races mattered. But the presidential, it was going to go Trump, period.
Yeah.
So, it's like I said earlier. Look, I just hope that people realize that we have an obligation, man. Like, we have to bear witness here and make sure shit doesn't go down. And I really hope, like, all the people who voted for Trump and are on that side of things hold people accountable too. Don't let it get all, kristallnacht.
Right.
CKL.
I felt like it was so weird for me personally because I felt like it was the first time that I defensively voted.
Yeah.
I don't love Hillary. I don't hate her either. I was kind of in the middle. Like, I was like, if Bernie didn't get it, if he got screwed, well, then I'm going to vote for Hillary. But I felt like I was equally voting against Trump as I was voting for Hillary.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what got her in the ass in the end.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was the downfall.
Well, there were way too many of us that were just uninspired. And we needed inspiration. And the reason why those numbers I keep talking about, well, 2008, that was Obama. So you had some of the highest voter turnouts in American history, especially from the Democrats, from African Americans and Latinos and millennials, et cetera, actually voting that didn't vote this time because they weren't inspired. So I think what it says is don't elect candidates that are dry and uninspired like Al Gore, or, John Kerry, people I have tremendous respect for.
Right.
But that just aren't all that inspirational.
Yeah.
You would think in this modern society of like everything's flash in the pan, everything's so like, I don't mean this in a bad way, but everything's so like ADD.
Sure.
Everything's just boom, 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 flashing lights, colors, fast, everything, turnaround. You would think that, I mean, did the Republicans do that? I mean, did they get that right in pushing this crazy man to the center of the stage? I mean, he definitely garnered reactions from both sides.
Well, the crazy thing is, I mean, they didn't want him anymore.
I guess
than
you're right.
He did.
Yeah, he's not really loved by the Republican Party.
In fact, in the last like few weeks, he was basically like, "I'm glad I don't have the backing of the Republican Party because now I can do whatever the hell I want." So, and they've already come out. Mitch McConnell, head of the Senate, he said basically, yeah, his proposal for term limits isn't going to see the light of day. You have the establishment Republicans that are still like, they're not crazy about this guy, and it's on both sides. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the hell happens here. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he knew how to run this. He ran it like a reality show. This was the start of Trump television, and now we've got it for 4 years.
My big question was, if Hillary was to have lost before the election results came in, or Trump was to have lost, do you think Trump would have had a career in politics if he lost?
Oh, hell no.
He never did. That's the thing. No. It's the first person ever to be elected president who didn't have political or military background.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and there's been people who've, been involved with other things like Ronald Reagan, actor, know.
But he was a governor as well.
Right. But they always had some sort of tie to politics.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was going around grabbing pussies and making television shows. And he's not a stupid man. Is he kind of a buffoon? Does he say dumb shit?
Of course.
He's not dumb. He's probably a lot smarter than a lot of us type of people give him credit for. You want to discredit him and be like, he's a fucking idiot and I hate him. He's not an idiot. He's not, I mean, does he do idiotic things and say idiotic things?
Sure.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. But he's not a complete moron, or he wouldn't be the president of the United States.
See, I don't think it was planned. I think he decided to do something on a whim, like fuck it, I'll do it, and did it, and didn't expect to get this far, and he did, and now he's got to see it through. I'm wondering if he understands what it really means to be president. Like you can't go out and grab pussies anymore. Like you are the president. That's all you're gonna do for the next 4 fucking years.
Yeah, First of all, the big opposition that I had to Trump all along was that I still hold on to this kind of classicist idea that our president needs to be a statesperson.
Mm-hmm.
They need to understand diplomacy and be able to interact with world leaders and dignitaries. And can you imagine this guy sending out a tweet at 1 a.m, ripping on Angela Merkel from Germany,
mm-hmm.
being like, "Oh, that pet bitch."
Yeah.
Can you fucking imagine that? This is insane.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if he will have the self-control not to do that or not. But what happened in the last 3 weeks of the campaign, though, his campaign literally took away his Twitter. They were like, "No more Twitter for you." And
that
put
is
him
insane.
on lockdown. And he started to behave a little bit better. But again, it's the circus show, man. This is Barnum and Bailey. Like I think it has been this giant act, and now we're going to see something.
Yeah.
I also want to add, he seems like the guy that's maybe always played by his own rules as far as like, I'm Donald Trump. I do what I want. I get what I want. I marry these foreign women. Hey, first MILF, by the way. Huh? Come on.
Did you see all the porn pictures of her floating around the last 2 days?
I haven't seen porn. I've just seen like her with like her ass cheeks out and like holding a gun and all this shit. And I was like, well, okay. There's another silver lining.
Yeah,
whatever.
There's this like girl on girl shot that was out today, maybe in the New York Times. I just think that to me, that's the ultimate irony is that you have all these people that claim to be all churchy and everything, especially here in Oklahoma. We've heard from him for the last 8 years
mm-hmm.
that are like, "Oh, Michelle Obama wearing sleeveless dresses.
She showed her shoulders."
Yeah, I mean, come on. And now you're talking about basically a mail order bride as our first lady, and they don't have any fucking problems with it. That's the part that just drives me crazy.
I think that's the weird paradox that I also have been driven crazy by is you have conservatives, Christians, all this. Yeah. They voted out of fear for the guy that has said terrible things.
Awful.
Terrible. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like the worst things you could say about the opposite sex, this man has said.
Yeah.
The worst things that he's not only has said, but he has drummed up about minorities and Muslims and women. And I mean, yet they pushed him to the front and now he's our president. How? I can't even put the words together. Where's the correlation there?
Yeah.
Well, again, was Clinton so uninspirational and so awful, apparently, that they opted for Trump instead. I think it says a lot about America, man.
Yeah, they wanted something different. They wanted to shake up the system.
They sure did that.
Yeah, sure as shit did that. I saw a video someone, I guess a kid at school took on his phone in a lunchroom, and it scared the shit out of me. It was kids chanting, "Build that wall."
Yeah, to a bunch of Latino kids.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, this is like Hitler Youth Rally stuff.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Is like that. It's fuck 4 years. It's 4 years to us. What is that? It's a flash in the pan, whatever. But kids are going to be raised for 4 years. This is their president, and this is all they know. And then they're going to be brought up in that to think it's okay to tell Latinos, go home. We're going to build a wall. Anti-Muslim, all of that shit, and the way you treat women, like it's disheartening to know what's going to happen with future generations.
Well, that's my thing. And you mentioned earlier, I really want to ask you, because I don't have kids, Josh doesn't have kids. How are you going to explain this to your daughter?
Well, I have a 12-year-old daughter, and she's very intellectual.
Okay.
She's followed the presidential election, and, we spoke about this yesterday. And
did she ask you? Like, did she come to you and ask you, like, how did this happen?
Yeah, she was crying. She was crying. She's fearful for the future because she sees just how appalling this person has behaved, and then really how the people who support him act. That's what she sees. And, it tears me up to have my daughter express those kind of interests and those fears. But ultimately, I just tell her, look, we got to stick part of the process. This is why I've been doing what I do my entire life. And you've been there with me. I've been taking her to committee hearings since she was a baby. Hey, baby.
See, it's not like, I've thought about it this way. Like, everyone got up in arms about Bush too. He's an idiot. He's fucked up our country. Why are we electing him again? He's, a war criminal. But the thing with him is, you know what I mean? Like, he was evil, but he didn't
he was
say
a lovable evil.
He was a lovable evil. Like,
now that he's gone,
this guy can't get shit
love
done.
him again.
Like, Dick Cheney was the guy we should have been scared of, and we very much were.
Absolutely. But W was, for all the dumb shit he did, and they almost collapsed our entire global economy.
Right.
And here we go. We reelect them again because we've had a black man as president for the last 8 years.
And not a woman. Better not have a woman next.
Exactly. But, with W, for the most part, not that bad. Could he handle himself as a dignitary? Yes.
Sure.
Would he do the things that Trump did? No. There's a reason all the Bushes came out against Trump.
Yeah.
That is unprecedented. You had George H.W. Bush, George W. You had Barbara Bush, all saying, how in God's name can you elect this guy?
I saw that meme that was like every living president, former president, like, none of these people are in support of Donald Trump. Like, what the hell does that say to you?
Yeah.
Do you think Jeb casted his vote for Donald Trump?
Watching the interactions between those guys, I was ready for it to come to blows on stage.
It was entertaining.
It was.
So, hey, thanks for that, Trump. You know how to write a show or whatever. But it was so awkward and so weird and so like schoolyard bully.
Completely schoolyard, but all of it was bully. Donald Trump is a bully, straight up. There's no getting around that. That's how he operates. I'm sure that's how he's operated his business. I've dealt with those kind of guys before. They're assholes. And they're assholes. And that's how they force their will upon people. And you either do business with them or you don't. And here in this case, we're forced to now. But you watch him on the stage, like stalking people around. The second debate where he was literally like stalking her around stage. And some people loved that.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't understand. Like how people can react positively to that and be like, oh, that was fantastic. It's like, no, that was disgusting.
It was creepy.
Yeah.
It was straight up creepy.
Ew.
Well, man, I really appreciate you coming on and talking about all this. I know, it's kind of, this wasn't the show that was packed full of laughs and good time and whatnot, but I really did want to talk about this. And like I said earlier, by the time this comes out, for the people who are listening, some time has passed. Like you said, we've licked our wounds. We'll see what happens. I don't feel like it's the end of the world yet, like we said earlier. But, man, I just don't really know what to say. I was racking my brain. I was really trying to come up with like some good like things to throw in. It's just like, it feels therapeutic to sit and talk to somebody, especially somebody I don't know.
Sure.
And I feel like we agree on most things, I would say.
Yeah. Well, and this is the longest conversation I've had about this since Tuesday night. So I get it, and I appreciate coming on. And look, I'd love to come on and do another one where we're talking.
Oh hell
about
yeah, we'll
shits
do
and
a fun.
giggles
We'll
and
do
music and all cool things Oklahoma City.
Well, that's what I do want to talk about next time, because
Cool.
Josh has to go here in a minute because he's got a show tonight.
I'm playing a show.
So this
nice.
one's going to be kind of short, but yeah, I definitely want to have you back on, because a lot of times on the show we like to talk about upbringing. That's kind of the backbone of this show. So I want to know about Tulsa and growing up and how you got into law and all those other fun things we'll get to next time.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I guess for tonight it's probably time to go.
I like it. I'm gonna go get a drink.
All right, Bud Scott, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thank you. Happy to be here, man.
All right.
It's great.
Bye.